A poor mechanic fixed a biker's broken motorcycle for free. But he never imagined that just days later, his small shop would shake under the roar of hundreds of engines. Ethan's life was not easy. He owned a small repair shop on the edge of town, one that had been passed down from his father. The shop had once been full of life. Back when his father worked there, people trusted the place. But after his father's death, things changed. Now, Ethan struggled every single day just to keep the doors open. The paint on the walls had long since faded, the roof leaked whenever it rained, and half of his tools were old, rusted, or broken. On most days, he sat alone inside the shop, waiting for a customer who rarely came. The big auto repair center on the main road took away nearly all his business. They had flashy lights, shiny equipment, and offered quick service. People liked what looked successful, and Ethan's little garage, with its creaky door and dim lighting, was easy to ignore. But Ethan wasn't lazy. He worked from sunrise to sunset, repairing what little work came his way. Sometimes it was just a flat tire, other times a small oil change. But the money he earned was never enough. After paying rent for the shop and buying spare parts, Ethan was left with almost nothing. At night, he often sat in the corner of the garage with a small plate of instant noodles, his dinner for the day. He thought about giving up, about selling the shop and finding some other kind of work. But then he remembered his father's words. "Son, this shop is not just about fixing cars or bikes. It's about helping people. As long as someone needs help, you open these doors." That memory kept him going. Even if no customers showed up, even if his stomach ached from hunger, Ethan refused to shut down. And then, one evening, as he was about to close the shop, something happened that would change his life forever. It was late evening. The sun had almost set, and the sky glowed orange and purple. Ethan wiped the grease off his hands with an old rag and sighed. Another day had passed with no real work. He walked toward the shop's rolling shutter, ready to close it down for the night. Just then, he heard a strange noise from the road, a loud cough of an engine, followed by silence. Then another sputter. Ethan looked up. A motorcycle was rolling slowly toward his shop, wobbling, barely moving. The rider pulled up in front of the garage. He was a tall man, rough-looking, wearing a leather jacket with patches stitched onto it. His boots were dusty, his beard unkempt, and his face carried the weight of long, hard roads. The man climbed off his bike and kicked the stand down. The motorcycle looked worse than the rider himself, scratched, rusty, smoke rising from the exhaust. "You still open?" the biker asked, his voice deep and tired. Ethan hesitated. He was about to close, and honestly, he didn't feel like working another late night. But then he saw the man's face. He looked worn out, as if the road had beaten him down for days. "Yeah," Ethan replied softly. "What's wrong with it?" The biker ran a hand through his beard. "Don't know. Won't run right. Keeps cutting off. I don't have much money right now, but maybe you can just take a quick look." Ethan frowned. He needed money, desperately. But he also saw something familiar in the man's eyes, a kind of exhaustion he himself knew too well. "Roll it inside," Ethan said at last. The biker pushed the motorcycle into the shop. The smell of burnt oil filled the air. Ethan crouched down beside the bike, listening to the engine tick as it cooled. He could tell right away. It wasn't a small fix. This bike needed real work. The biker noticed his expression. "If it's too much, I'll just push it somewhere else," he said quietly. "Like I said, I don't got much on me." Ethan shook his head. "Let me take a look. We'll figure it out." The biker studied him for a long moment, almost suspicious, as if waiting to be cheated. But Ethan's calm voice and steady eyes made him nod. He leaned against the wall as Ethan grabbed his toolbox and got to work. Little did Ethan know, this simple decision, to fix a stranger's motorcycle for free, was about to set in motion something far bigger than he could ever imagine. Ethan pulled a stool closer and leaned over the old motorcycle. The machine had seen better days. The chain was loose, the carburetor clogged, and the fuel lines worn thin. He tapped the engine with a wrench, listening carefully like a doctor checking a patient's heartbeat. The biker watched him in silence. His sharp eyes scanned the small garage, the cracked tiles, the dusty shelves, the faded sign of Wilson & Son Repair Shop. "You run this place alone?" the biker finally asked. "Yeah," Ethan replied without looking up. "My father built it. Been trying to keep it alive since he passed." The biker grunted. "Tough world to be running a shop like this." Ethan gave a small smile. "Yeah, but it's all I got." For the next hour, Ethan worked non-stop. His tools weren't fancy. Most were older than he was, but his hands knew what to do. Slowly, he tightened, cleaned, replaced, and adjusted. His clothes soaked in sweat and grease, but he didn't stop. Finally, he wiped his forehead and looked up. "Try starting it now." The biker swung his leg over the seat, turned the key, and hit the ignition. The bike coughed, sputtered, and then roared to life with a steady growl. The man's eyes widened. He revved the throttle, smooth, clean, powerful. "You fixed it," the biker said, almost in disbelief. "How much do I owe you?" Ethan shook his head. "Don't worry about it." The biker frowned. "Nothing's free." "I know," Ethan said softly, "but I saw you didn't have much. Just consider it a favor. Maybe one day you'll pass it on." The biker stared at him for a long moment, as if trying to read his soul. Finally, he gave a slow nod. "Not many like you left, old man." "Name's Ethan," the mechanic said, offering a hand. The biker hesitated, then shook it firmly. "Ryder." That night, Ryder rode off into the dark, his motorcycle echoing down the empty street. Ethan closed the shop, not realizing he had just fixed more than a bike. He had sparked a bond that would change everything. For the next few days, life went back to normal. Ethan's shop remained quiet. A couple of flat tires, one oil change, but nothing that could pay the bills. He ate his noodles in silence, staring at the old photo of his father that hung on the wall. Sometimes, he wondered if fixing that biker's motorcycle for free had been foolish. He could have used the money. But deep down, he didn't regret it. Something about Ryder felt different, like helping him mattered more than earning a few dollars. Still, Ethan pushed the thought aside. Business was dying. His landlord had already warned him about the rent being late. He couldn't survive much longer like this. It was a Saturday morning when Ethan heard it. At first, just a faint rumble in the distance. He thought it was thunder. But as the sound grew louder, the ground beneath his feet began to shake. Ethan stepped outside his garage, shielding his eyes from the sun. That's when he saw them. Motorcycles. Dozens of them. No, hundreds. A long line stretched down the road, engines roaring in perfect rhythm. Chrome glinted. Leather jackets flashed. The smell of gasoline filled the air. The small town had never seen anything like it. One by one, the bikes rolled into Ethan's yard. The ground vibrated. Windows rattled. The air buzzed with power. Neighbors peeked through curtains, whispering in shock. Ethan froze, his heart racing. What was happening? At the front of the pack, Ryder's motorcycle pulled up. He removed his helmet and smirked at Ethan. "Hope you don't mind a little company," Ryder said. Ethan's jaw dropped. What is this?" Ryder swung off his bike. "You helped me when you didn't have to. You treated me like a person, not a wallet. That doesn't happen in our world. So I told my brothers about you, and they told their brothers. Now," he gestured at the sea of motorcycles behind him, "we're here." Bikers began crowding around, shaking Ethan's hand, slapping him on the back, laughing, filling the garage with life it hadn't seen in years. One rider pulled out a box of brand new tools, another dropped off spare parts. A third handed Ethan a thick envelope. "What's this?" Ethan asked, confused. "Donations," Ryder said simply. "Every man here pitched in. You kept one of us on the road when he was down. That makes you family." Ethan's eyes stung as he opened the envelope. More money than he'd seen in months. The bikers didn't stop there. They repainted the walls, patched the leaking roof, and stocked his shelves with fresh supplies. The sound of hammers, laughter, and roaring engines filled the air all day. By sunset, the little repair shop looked new again, shiny, alive, full of energy. Ethan stood in the middle of it all, overwhelmed. He had spent years feeling invisible, forgotten. And now, his shop shook with the power of Brotherhood. That night, as the last of the bikers rode off into the distance, Ethan sat outside the shop under the glowing sign. For the first time in years, he didn't feel alone. Ryder walked up and placed a hand on his shoulder. "You helped me when no one else would. Now you'll never stand alone again. You've got us." Ethan smiled, his eyes wet. "Guess my father was right. This shop isn't just about fixing machines. It's about helping people." Ryder grinned, and sometimes people help back. The sound of fading engines filled the night air. Ethan looked around at his renewed shop, his heart swelling with gratitude. He wasn't just a poor mechanic anymore. He was part of something bigger, and all it had taken was fixing one broken motorcycle for free.